Everybody has pain. And pain isn't necessarily a bad thing. Pain is an alarm system. It's like your smoke alarm at home. When the alarm goes off, it lets you know something's not right. It isn't something where you want to go necessarily take the batteries out of the smoke alarm, the same as taking medication. Let's just numb out the pain so we don't notice the problem anymore. That's not a very good idea, because the longer you go ignoring the smoke alarm, the more damage you have. The longer you leave pain go unaddressed, the more tissue damage occurs. More bad stuff happens. It gets more expensive. So, it's important to recognize pain for what it is. It isn't a condition. It is a warning signal telling you something isn't right. Now, pain is a sensation that is traveling down a certain type of nerve. So there are different types of nerves in your body that carry different information to your brain. There's temperature nerves. We've all put our hand on a cold ice cube and go, oh, that's cold. That's a temperature nerve. We've also had a scenario where maybe we got a splinter in our finger, or we stepped on a tack or a rock and we go, that hurts. That is a type of pain nerve that is firing, carrying information to the brain. There's really only two things that fire a pain nerve. One is pressure, and the other is inflammation. So think of pressure like a horse stepping on your foot. Well, that would hurt. Why? Because that compresses the nerves, and it fires that pain nerve. It sends multiple impulses to the brain, and the brain goes, this is not a good situation. Warning, there's pain here. The other thing that stimulates the pain nerve is inflammation. Where does inflammation come from? Well, inflammation that fires a pain nerve comes from two different places. The first thing is tissue damage. If I have a tissue that is stressed, and it's stressed to its limit, the longer it goes under that situation of stress, then it starts to create strain. And strain or sprain is where tissue fibers of the muscle or ligament are damaged. And once that tissue damage occurs, it releases enzymes that then produce inflammation. And there's lots of fancy enzymes out there that we could talk about. Leukotriene, cytokines, NF-κB, there's lots of things we could go into, but you don't need to know that. What you need to know is that tissue damage causes a release of enzymes. Those enzymes then trigger the production of inflammation. Inflammation is what fires the pain nerve. Now, in talking about acute versus chronic injury, acute injuries will result in the enzymes being released and causing localized inflammation in that area, and the nerves will send information to the head. But when that inflammation has been there for a long time, it keeps stimulating that pain nerve. But that pain nerve can only carry so much information to the brain, and it's tapped, it's maxed out. There's no more information that can get through that pipeline. But the body says, I still need to get more information to that brain. So what it will do is it will recruit a second nerve, a second pain nerve, to carry more information to the brain, telling you there's more damage here than what you thought. And if those two are maxed out, it will recruit a third one. So now what you get is what we call superinnervation, where more nerves or pain nerves are sending lots of information to the brain. And the thing about it is it only takes one stimuli, one little irritation, to fire all those nerves at one time, which is how we get into that chronic pain pattern. Chronicity is where multiple pain nerves are sending lots of data to the brain, but it could be just one small little thing that stimulates it, but it's one thing and it fires all those guys. It's kind of like, a good analogy is, once you've made your boyfriend or girlfriend or your wife or husband mad, and you've made them a little mad, more mad and a little more mad, it doesn't take near as much to set them off, right? We've all been in that scenario. It's exactly the same with the chronicity of a pain nerve. More and more pain nerves are sending information to the brain. It doesn't take near as much to set the house on fire. And so when we run into that scenario, the brain is receiving information saying there is a massive problem here and you need to address it. So when we first start to talk about pain, which is why most people are interested in what we do here, when we think of pain, pain is a sensation. So we all have this at some point in time. What what is pain? Pain is a neural sensation. So if I put an ice cube in your hands, you would say, oh, that's cold. That's a thermal nerve. If I put pressure on your foot and you go, oh, that hurts, that is a pressure nerve carrying information to the brain. Pain nerves are a type of nerve fiber. And so there's only two things really that fire pain nerves. One is pressure, think of a horse stepping on my foot, and the other is inflammation. Those are the only two things that fire a pain nerve. Pain is a nerve that is stimulated by pressure and or inflammation. Which is why when you think of pressure on a nerve being irritated by compression, that's where chiropractic comes in so nicely. It will come in, the patient will come in, you'll get adjusted, it helps relieve the pressure on the nerve, magically the patient feels better. But if we go further than that, we know that when tissue is stressed to a limit, then it starts to be strained. And the more strain you get on the tissue, then you start to get these little micro tears or massive tears, and that causes a release of enzymes that cause inflammation. Inflammation is that which fires or stimulates the pain nerve. So the more inflammation I have, the more the nerve is fired.